Hey guys, welcome to Flipping Houses Live. I'm Brock Collins, and today I'm going to share with you in the next few minutes the difference between wholesaling real estate, and flipping houses 101. Here's why. I'm going to take you through this property that I just bought and I sold, and I'm going to let you make a decision on what would have made the most financial sense to you guys, what made the most sense, because this is an old house in a good part of our town. It's just an old house, but it's a real popular area. So I'm going to walk you through the numbers and let you decide which would have made more sense to you, and I'm going to show you how it all played out. So if you want to flip houses and you want to make money, or if you want to make the most beautiful product and spend a year on so you can show everyone has a different way they want to do the business, right? What I like to do is, how can I get in and get out and make the most money for the least amount of time? So if you want to walk this journey with me, let me show you this. I'm going to walk you through this property on the inside. Let's take a tour right now. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through this old house, and this is in a popular area in kind of the spot that I live in, and they're older houses. Most of them were built about 100 years ago, and now people are looking to buy, knock walls out, totally do remodels to have modern homes without totally scraping these, okay? So look, we've got metal cabinets, we've got funky countertops, hasn't been updated in 60 years. This actually was added on, rumor has it, for their maidservant. So the maidservant lived with them, and so they added this room and this bedroom on, and this bathroom on, for their maidservant to have their own kind of little quarters. I know, weird, right? Okay, so let's go in, back through the kitchen. Again, check out the fancy cabinets and countertops. Whoa, what do you have there? How would you like to have a bathroom right in your kitchen? Pretty weird, right? All right, so we're looking now, we're going to go through the dining room, but I want you to start thinking numbers. As we're walking through this property, to modernize it, to bring it to today's standards, what are you really looking at? What would it cost you? How long would it take you, right? So let's go into the living room. This was an old porch. As you can see, the beams here that was kind of opened up at some point. So look, you got windows. Check out the windows. I mean, they're just, whoa. I mean, they're pretty wild. So you got windows, you got roof, you got knocking out walls, you got kitchens, you got bathrooms. You've only seen one of them. I'm going to show you the other one in just a second. So let's walk through it, take you through this one last small room on the main floor, and then I'm going to take you upstairs so we can take a look at the upstairs. And there's some key points upstairs I want you to know as well. So let's go upstairs, and if you really want, I can get you a piece of that red carpet still. Pretty wild red carpet. All right, let's go upstairs. We're going to check out the master bedroom, all right? So this master bedroom right here, pretty good size. This was a part of the original house when it was built almost 100 years ago. So as you can see, it's really good space. And then you walk into, they actually, 100 years ago, had put in a his and her closet on both sides. You actually can walk inside of it. So it's pretty fancy at the time when this property was built. So if you look in, this was the his and hers of the house, of the closets. All right, so we're going to take you into this master bathroom. Take a look. Now, green tub, green stool, fancy at one time, you know, green tile. Everything is wild. So as we're walking through this, I want you to think this. How much would it cost me to modernize just this one bathroom? How much time would it take? What would it entail? Right? So I'm looking at dollar signs. Every time we look through properties, I'm cranking, am I going to flip this house? Am I going to wholesale this house? What am I going to do with it? And the numbers actually dictate what ended up happening. This was an addition, and as you see, there's 7-foot ceilings only in these 3 bedrooms. That was an addition at some point. So it's kind of small, kind of boxy, kind of weird, lots of updates needed. And as you can see, there's one last bedroom here, but again, it's got 7-foot ceilings. So every area is going to be a little different, but the video is getting ready to end this walkthrough. But what I want you to know is, in our area, 7-foot or ceilings or less is going to be a code violation, which means you can't rent it. You can't count it as usable living space, and that hinders the value of a property really, really big. So these 3 bedrooms we just walked through on this end that were additions at one time, it's not easy. There's no trusses above them. There's no way to raise these ceilings. So, I mean, you got to take that in consideration. Here's what you would think about in that if you were looking at this house in your area. If after the ARV, the after repair value, after you fix this whole thing up, if it's say 300 grand and other comparable homes around there have sold for like 300 grand, but they have 8-foot ceilings or taller and yours doesn't, that can add two things. It can be a detraction of one, value for sure. It may not appraise out the way you'd hope it to. And two, just perceived value from the buyers who are coming to look at your otherwise beautiful remodeled house with 7-foot ceilings. So all those go into your number box of what does this make sense? So if you're looking to, like if you're flipping houses and you want to do a fix and flip on this house, okay? If that's your intent, we'll get to the numbers. I'm going to take you to the whiteboard in just a second and go over numbers. But if you're flipping houses, or if you want to wholesale this real estate, whatever you want to do on the exit plan here, it all comes down to the numbers and the time, okay? So what I look at, my venue is, how can I make the most money in the least amount of time with the least hassle? So let me walk you to the whiteboard right now. I'm going to show you two kind of sets of numbers, and I want you to decide which would have made most sense. Dumping a whole bunch of money, and I'm going to tell you how much in just a second. And I'm also going to tell you what I paid for it and how this exited out. So if you're on the fence of flipping houses or wholesaling houses, which way to go, I'll let you make the decision as you see these numbers. Let's go to the whiteboard. All right, so we're at the whiteboard, and I want to show you a couple things. I'm going to show you what would happen if I were to fix and flip this house. So if we're looking at this with the flipping houses like mindset, okay, I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you what would happen if I would have wholesaled this property. I'm also going to show you what would have happened if I would have retailed, or what I call wholetailing the property, all right? So here's what we've got. We've got our flip. We've got our flip. We've got our conventional wholesale, okay? And then we've got, I'm going to do W-tail. This is wholetail. All right, so these are our three options, okay? So I'm going to show you why we didn't do this, why we didn't wholesale this house, okay? Why I said no. So if we were to wholesale this real estate here that we just walked through, when I put it out to the buyers list, the most someone was willing to give me was this. $5,000 more than I had a contract to buy it for, okay? So a lot of you might be thinking, Brock, wow, 5,000 bucks? Yes, please, I'll take it. Yeah, and in some cases I would, especially like if this house was in a tough area, if it was like in a rough area of town that would have been hard to fix and flip, would have been hard to do any other angle, yes, I'd go. The lens I was looking at with this is, it's in a great area of town. It's old town that people like and want to be. So therefore, I wasn't so quick to do this. So I said, you know what? If that's the most I can get on a wholesale, we're going to say no thanks. Okay? So the next option we were looking at was this. So we're gonna flip this house. We're gonna say, well, let me tell you what I paid for it. I paid $80,000 for this property. Okay? Now, that was my contract price. So as I'm looking through it, what am I going to do with it? All right, so here's what it would have cost as I walked through each of those rooms, like you just did with me on the video as we walked through it. It would have cost about $100,000 to rehab that house. So that would put us at a basis just straight in at $180,000. Okay? Now, let me clean this up a little bit. I'm going to get rid of this guy. So we're going to move this over here. So we're in this as a fix and flip at $180,000, okay? Now, based on the comparable sales, the low 7-foot ceilings, it kicked me out of some of the market reach because those ceilings in those additions were 7 foot. So I knew I couldn't reach at the top, but I knew what I could do is most likely get $250,000 in an all-in fixed up price, okay? Now, of the $250,000, we're already in it $180,000 from our fix and flip, okay? So we're minusing out that. All right, here's the other thing. My selling cost to sell this as for a real estate agent is another about $15,000, all right? Then we also have our holding costs, our real estate taxes that are accruing against us, our power, some interest payments. So let's say that's going to be about $6,000 of holding cost. All right, now let me walk you down here. When we bring all this down, that would only leave a $49,000 profit. You might be saying, Brock, that's freaking amazing. That might be more than some people make in a year, right? And so, wow, it's like, let's go, right? However, here's the thing to think about. This project, this $100,000 renovation would take at least 4 months, maybe more. So we've got, let's say 4 months. Let's just say conservatively. It might take longer than that from start to finish, especially when you get in these old houses. There's always problems that you find. You tear this wall out and you're like, oh my gosh, there's knob and tube in there. Oh, now we got to chase this. Now this plumbing is all messed up. We got to chase this. So that's kind of what happens in these old houses. So 4 months might be conservative. Here's the other thing. If we had it fully finished and on the market in 4 months, it might take another 6 to 8 months before you find a buyer and get to the closing table. So that's roughly 12 months or a year to get this, right? Then you have, like, let's say it's summertime. Then you're paying someone to go check it once a week. Make sure no one broke in or burglarized or stole your central AC or the copper out of it. Make sure you've got someone mowing the yard, picking up the sticks for a year for that. All right? Let's come over here to our wholesale. Remember, I paid $80,000 for this property. What I'm looking at is, how can I get involved with a property and do the least amount of work for the most amount of money in the short amount of time, okay? Least amount of work, most amount of money, short amount of time. That's what we're looking at. So keep in mind, on our wholesale, which was here, or our wholesale, the most a cash buyer wanted to give me was $5,000 more than my 80, okay? And what I knew is, because it was a sought-after neighborhood, there was just way too much money left on the table, all right? So of this, I paid $80,000. Let me show you this. Now, I paid $80,000. I sold this, I wholetailed this property. And for those of you who aren't familiar with what wholetailing is, it's very similar to wholesaling real estate, but wholetailing real estate is one switch. When you wholesale property, you literally are getting a contract, assigning the contract, okay, or doing a double close. No money involved whatsoever. You can use your cash buyer's money in most cases, right? So that's wholesaling. So you're assigning it for more than you agreed to pay, all right? Now, wholetailing is very similar in the process. Finding the deals is pretty much the same thing. The difference is how I look at wholesale versus a wholetail. Wholesaling is, you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, how much can I get wholesaling? What's my cash buyers willing to give me? Now, and if it's not enough, based on, like, this is a perfect example. If it's not enough because there's so much more left on the table, I look at the wholesaling side, the wholetailing side. And what that means is you literally take the deal down. Again, I like to use no money down strategies, all right? So I'm going to teach you more about that in these videos. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, be sure to subscribe to Flipping Houses Live on YouTube right now, okay? Subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be teaching you more about that. Wholetailing is when you take the deal down. You don't have to have your own money. In fact, with this one, I'm going to show you how I bought it in just a second. But when you take the deal down, you then list it for sale with a real estate agent. And you might be saying, Brock, that's crazy. Your wholesale cash buyers were only going to give you $5,000. How in the world can you afford to pay a real estate commission? Here's why. Your cash buyers who buy from wholesalers are one group. The cash buyers who buy on the MLS, multiple listing service with realtors, is another group. Cash buyers that buy from wholesalers know a whole bunch of wholesalers and know how to find discounted deals through these wholesalers. Cash buyers who buy on the MLS do not know these wholesalers, do not know they exist, and are looking with real estate agents trying to find the deal, okay? So that's the difference. So I take it down and I'm selling to the cash buyers that don't know about their local wholesalers, or haven't got involved with them to say, please send me your deals because I'm a buyer. All right, so to get in front of these buyers, we're literally, I bought this house for $80,000. Okay, now I put this house up for sale and I sold it wholesale for $109,000. Okay, $109,000. So you might be saying, Brock, how did you pay a real estate commission? There's no room. Well, again, if you do your comps right, which is very important to know the backside of your comps. So like this is a comp, knowing if we retailed it, we might get $250,000 after $100,000 fixing and flipping the house, right? Flipping that house. So on the backside, what was it worth as is? I knew it was worth way more than I was willing to pay that I got a contract to buy, okay? So I sold it for $109,000, wholetailed it, okay? Minus the $80,000 that I bought. Here's the thing, you're gonna say, Brock, where's the other numbers in here? Okay, that realtor cost me about $7,000 to find me this buyer, okay? Here's the other thing, when I say no money down deals, I'm serious. So this property right here, this $80,000 was not my money. Could have been, but it wasn't. I brought in a private money lender, just a person I knew who was saying, hey, I'll give you $80,000 in return for a certain amount of interest. So I do not give out equities in the property, just a return on interest, okay? So this investor, this money lender's friend of mine said, give me $1,000 back if you have it in this short amount of time. Perfect. So this is my RE commission, real estate commissions. This is my interest to the private money lender. Okay. Now, so when you bring all of this down, I walked out with a profit of $20,000, $20,200. Sure beats the $5,000 that the cash buyers from the wholesale side was willing to do, okay? So when we're looking at that, so it sure beats that in a big, big way, right? So what you have to determine is, have you done your homework? Have you done your homework on your buy price? Have you done your homework on your wholesale price, okay? Now, if you're thinking about flipping this house, have you done your homework on your buy price? Have you done your homework on your rehab and repair price? And then more importantly, just as important, is have you done your homework on the ARV when it's all said and done, okay? So those are important things. So here's why this is important. When you look at these three options, flipping the house, wholesaling the house, or wholetailing the house for here. So this is our wholetailing. This is our wholetailing. Okay? So $20,200 made more sense to me than $5,000 because this process took less than 30 days to get this. Okay? Took less than 30 days. So maybe if you wholesaled it, you would have had your $5,000 in 2 weeks. Maybe. Maybe it took 4 weeks. So for the same amount of time and effort, you know, I'm selling for that price. I'm willing to pay a professional to bring me that buyer. So don't get twisted. It doesn't have to be cute to be a real estate investor, okay? You don't have to say, I'm a wholesaler and I've got this cash buyer list, so I'm badass, right? It's great if you do, and always build it. You know, make relationships with people. But if the money's there and you can turn this into this in the same amount of time, and that includes paying a professional to bring you that buyer, does that make sense to you? So that's what I like to see. So when we're looking through deals, and you might just be wholesaling houses right now, and that's okay, because that's how I started, because I didn't have money, I didn't have credit when I got started over 20 years ago. I didn't have any of that. So I had to start here, and I did a ton of these to get money in my pocket so that I could move to these, the fix and flips, to flipping houses, okay? So now when I look at a property, a couple things I look about. Who's my competition? I'm listening to the sellers when I'm there at their property to make them an offer. Are other people involved, does it sound like, or is it just me, right? If other people are involved, I'm looking at all of my different angles to see what makes most sense. My competitors would probably bid like this. I'm going to bid like this, okay? And I've done a lot of deals and won them thinking through the different strategies rather than just this. Because if you go in with a wholesale state of mind on every property, you're going to lose some deals. You're going to lose deals to the wholesalers like me. You're going to lose deals to flipping houses people like me. You're going to lose deals to people like me who are buying these cash flow properties. You'll lose more deals to these than any of the rest if you only go with the mindset here. Because typically when we're wholesaling, we're looking, our minds have been taught us, some of the gurus tell you, you've got to get such a huge deal or it never works. Maybe it's true in your market, I don't know. But this is to encourage you to think through flipping houses, to think through wholesaling houses, to think through wholetailing houses. So if you're wholesaling real estate and you're looking at a 5K or a 20K, it makes a big difference. I mean, that's a big difference. Depending on what you make in your job, it's a big difference. Now, one word of caution, and mind you, this whole thing is not legal advice or anything like that. I'm just sharing with you how I look at deals. The thing when you take down a wholesale deal is you just got to know you can manage the risk. And what I mean by that is you are actually going to buy the property. And you're either going to use your money here or private money or line of credit on your house or line of credit with the bank, right? So that's typically how you're doing it. So you just got to know that you can manage the risk to triple or quadruple what a wholesaler and a cash buyer on the retail side would pay. So I hope that makes sense. So here's what I want you to do. One, again, if you haven't subscribed to Flipping Houses Live on YouTube, do that right now. Also, I put together a free training series, and I kind of go through this a little bit more in how to look at deals, how to wholesale, how to wholetail houses, and looking through the lenses, and I give you extra examples of real-life properties that I've done with that. So you can go to flippinghouses.live.com right now. Just grab my free report. And on there's a free video series you can get on right now. It was a private web class I did that I've held in my secure area. I'm willing to give that to you for a short time. So if you want it, grab it right now. flippinghouses.live.com for the free training. I hope you found this to be a great help with flipping houses, wholesaling houses, and wholetailing real estate. So thanks for watching and joining me at Flipping Houses Live.